So what I had some of my viewers do is we can just do like some talk about rating throughout the expansions and look at some cool numbers. I'll post them in here first. Let me grab them. It's just from a message request. And then the per X pack. So you can compare the X pack against each other, which is a little bit hard in BFA because BFA had 4 raids. So
when this says average progression time, is that like per boss or?
It's that pick. So it has the total amount of pulls on average from progstats.io across. This is not world first ranks. This is probably just across all of Cutting Edge. It is the time to complete in hours, and it is the like killed first, not last boss kills thing is not relevant, and I didn't ask for that, or the completion rate. It's more the first 2 columns. So I'll just so people in chat don't type about it, I'll just remove those. And this is all from progstats.io. I want to make just a general statement here that it's as accurate as that is. We could probably make this more accurate with more time. We won't be spending that. Progstats.io, at least for the progstats.io for the last 2 expansions, is pretty accurate. It's not super accurate. Like, it's not up to date every week, like for current raids. So Mirdrasil will, kind of take that with a grain of salt. It's the other raids. All the other raids have had all their logs in for years. So, I mean, what does this look at generally? Like, I guess it just took more time. Like, raids took longer in Shadowlands in general than they did in Dragonflight. I think the quality of raids are probably pretty similar. Like, it's hard to tell if there would have been as many good bosses in this expansion as there would have been in Shadowlands, like we just looked at, because there was just more bosses. Like, I think there was like something like 8 more bosses last expansion than this one. Like, almost an entire raid. Yeah, I don't know. Do any numbers here stick out to you as like the progression of WoW rating?
Dude, is this real? Sepulcher 87 hours.
It's we can look at the actual
Yeah,
site.
It's interesting that that's a lower amount of hours than Nathria.
I feel like there's no way, right?
Well, I think it might be just because people, like, if you came in and you did it at the end of the tier, like
it averages all of it. Yeah.
Right, like end of tier Sepulcher, the bosses have been nerfed more than any other bosses in history, right?
But they're still hard as fuck, were they not? Actually,
no. Jailer was very easy. Jailer was very easy at the end. Like they nerfed the fuck out of that fight.
It depends on like when you mean by the end, right? Because like if it was like right before Faded came out, yeah, that fight was, you only had 2 phases in that fight. It literally like died as you were pushing through and doing the animations in the end of the fight.
Look at the progression.
It didn't do any mechanics.
Look at the progression time. It's like almost 100 hours. Almost 100 hours, 80 hours, 60 hours, and then at a certain point, the progression time is like 10 hours. That also doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel accurate.
Bro, is progstats.io just like, is this wrong? I thought this was right. Someone told me this is like pretty accurate.
That amount of time in combat sounds about right to me, right? 18 to 30.
Oh, it's in
hours?
combat, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
I'm reading it wrong. Wrong.
Yeah, it's that graph isn't like based on time, right? It is just like guilds. How long did guilds take to kill it? So like, yeah.
How many guilds?
Yes, yeah.
So this is how many guilds took this many hours. So
yeah.
So okay, I see.
So it doesn't tell us anything about. We have to kind of assume that the ones to the left of that distribution were the ones coming in and doing it later.
Yeah.
Which you can sort of see that if you look at the kill date graph, the one at the top left of there, where there are these big spikes in it getting killed after some of those later hotfixes, right?
Oh my God, look at that.
The first 2 hotfixes, and it's still a pretty flat graph, but then those last 2 hotfixes, and then there's just like a huge spike
dude, what the fuck was the nerf on 1 second? Jailer nerf, July 5th, 2022.
Oh, wow.
WoW hotfixes, July 5th,
I see
Sepulcher
it.
the first ones.
Yeah. My God.
Health reduced by 10% on Mythic difficulty. Azerite radiation increased to 7% of stack. That's a damage buff. So the damage buff was buffed by more than double. The domination... Oh, you now no longer get MC'd when you get 2 stacks of Tyranny. 3. Surging Azerite damage reduced by 15. Rune of Damnation damage by 15. I don't even remember what that is. I don't know what these runes are. Is that the tank thing? Rune of Domination? I think it is.
I think that's like the bombs. I think the bombs were the runes.
Yeah, I think it's the bombs, right?
Yeah.
Like a dive that puts on them.
Oh my God. Chains of Anguish damage reduced by 30% on Mythic difficulty. Holy fuck. Chainbreaker damage. Dude. Okay. Yes.
And the health nerf is huge here as well, because all the you just kill the boss before the end of P3 by such a huge amount. It
Correct.
shields for less. Like, yeah.
A lot less mechanics. I remember you would skip like the entire last.
You'd skip all of P3 and
part.
P4. Yeah, you would just kill the
Wait, it was a
whole
P4.
boss.
I actually don't even remember.
Yeah, the mythic phase, whatever. The one where it would shield itself.
Oh yeah.
And it
yeah,
used to heal itself, but then they removed all the
yeah.
healing that it would do, and it would just shield itself. It was a very hard boss, and it got nerfed and was still very hard, and then eventually it got nerfed and was actually historically easy after the final nerfs. So, depending on the amount of guilds that fought that version of the boss, that would skew the numbers, I think.
Oh, this is interesting.
Dude, we gotta
Oh, good.
get Goop in here. He's got some strong takes.
Don't know how Anduin snuck into S tier on Mythic.
Anduin was sweet.
Anduin was awesome. Yeah, I like Anduin.
Blasphemy, dude. The problem with Anduin was you only did a hard blasphemy once, and that was the most fun mechanic in the fight.
Yeah, I think like for sure when they made Blasphemy, it was intended to be done the whole fight. You don't make a mechanic like that to just do in one phase. That just doesn't make sense. And they probably like did it the whole fight, and they were like, "This is a lot. There's already a lot going on here."
I mean, I don't blame it. I'm just sad that they chose to prune that instead of the other stuff.
I think Anduin on Heroic has changed a lot of people's opinions because like Anduin on Heroic was just an absolute motherfucker. Like it just killed it was so hard to kill that boss in a pug or in any Heroic whatsoever. It's also, interestingly enough, it is the Heroic Anduin is the most nerfed encounter of all time. There's actually a funny picture. I've lost it for now, but it like shows all of the notes for each boss in that raid against each other, like along the top.
I have that post.
You have the post? Okay.
It's so good, man.
It's a very good, it's a good pick.
But yeah, if you scroll down to the Anduin part of this, it's it is something else.
Oh no, this isn't even the. Okay, no, there's an even better version of this. It's a picture, and it just lists all of these. Like the bosses are horizontal, and then the only vertical, and they're at the top, and the only vertical is just a list of the changes, so you can see them all in one picture against each other. And the Anduin one goes below the bottom of the screen, and none of the other ones even go like a quarter of the top. Like it's fucking insane. But I mean, yeah, you can see it here. Let's see, Halandris, Anduin. See, this doesn't even show it. This is this
you
is Mythic.
Switch over the tab to
yeah,
Heroic
you
if
switch to
want,
Heroic. Yeah, look at this. Anduin was nerfed. Heroic Anduin was nerfed on how many different dates? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's it. I think nope. 11. I'm just scrolling. I think it's 11 times total. Oh wait, someone's adding me in Discord. Oh, I think I tweeted it. I must have tweeted it at some point. Here's the picture. Yeah, I'll link it to you.
Oh wow.
That's the fucking nerfs. And it has the dates too. Oh my god. It's just like, how does this happen? Jailer had a decent amount too, but I mean, yeah, it's just fucking down the whole fucking screen. Do you guys subscribe to the belief? Because this is conspiracy as fuck. Like I've asked Blizzard developers off record. I've like inquired about this a decent amount, but the whole take that like there were supposed to be 4 tiers in the expansion and they condensed it all into one, and that's why they did the Lords of Dread through Jailer thing. Like they have like publicly denied this, and privately they've been like, yeah, we weren't doing that. But like, do you guys still believe that the tinfoil that there was actually 4 raids in the expansion and they kind of just slapped on a bunch to the third because they canceled?
I 100% believe it. I mean, Anduin is like literally an end boss. There's no shot it wasn't.
Yeah, the only reason. Okay, so I believed it for like a really really long time. Yeah, Anduin was really weird too because like Castle Nathria ended after like 8 or 9 days of progression, so it seemed like that was the norm, right? And then Anduin died. Like I think we killed Anduin the exact time we killed Denathrius, so it was like that would actually just be a normal full raid, and then we just did more after that point.
Yeah, you were halfway through the raid at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like the reason I don't believe it is I have people that work there that have never lied to me, that wouldn't have no reason for them when asking them straight up for them to be like, yes, that is what happened. Like, you know, so like I would just try, like my conspiracy brain is being told off by that, but there is a scenario, I guess, where those people, there's a deep state, you know?
Yeah. It is crazy that I think pre-nerf Heroic Anduin is probably harder than post-nerf Mythic Anduin.
Wait, what'd you say? Pre-nerf,
like if you took all those nerfs off Heroic Anduin, I think that version of the fight is maybe harder than post-nerf Mythic Anduin.
No, it's not.
I think maybe.
We killed that fight.
What,
us,
free nerf heroic Anduin?
yes, us and Echo killed.
Well, yeah, but you guys killed you guys killed Mythic Anduin too, the post nerf version.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, you could maybe argue for the gear you had at the time, because only we killed it. Us and Echo killed it, and they nerfed it the day after. It's like no one else. I don't even know how many other guilds even pulled that boss on heroic, because remember that was back when there was like a heroic week, so there's really no reason to rush it.
So only Echo and Liquid killed it on week 1 with perfect gear, and then you guys killed Anduin on
it was
week,
not perfect gear. Well, perfect gear from the previous patch.
Yeah, right. And then you guys killed Anduin, and I'm talking about you guys killed Mythic Anduin with much better gear than that, but not like you didn't have double Lego or anything like that. And then Mythic Anduin was nerfed like 10 times. I don't know. I think it may have ended up getting nerfed to be easier than the version of heroic Anduin that you guys killed.
You mean at the very, very end of the expansion?
I think, right before Faded came out, maybe.
Oh,
that version
yeah,
of
maybe.
Anduin
Yeah,
on
okay,
Mythic,
yeah, I
think
can
was
see that.
Easier than the initial
I'm dumb as
version of
fuck.
heroic Anduin.
I thought you were saying that like this version was harder than that, but yeah, okay,
No,
I understand. I understand. You might be right.
Yeah, like I think it literally got nerfed an entire difficulty tier. Over the course of that, because I mean the mechanics literally did several of those mechanics went from Mythic to heroic mechanics over the course of those nerfs.
Okay, so if these numbers are right, I don't really trust the old year ones because I just feel like ProgStats.io probably has bad things back then. Like, for example, this person made these numbers based on what's on that site, and it says killed first, not last, 222 guilds. Last boss kills 377. That doesn't
so only an extra 200 killed Talok or whatever.
That's fucking wrong. Like, look at Nathria.
100%
5,000 guilds killed Shriekwing and only 1,500 killed Denathrius. Like, why would that number be?
I suspect it's just like lost logs from
it's just
back then or
or
something.
I'm gonna just remove everything from BFA. I think because it's probably just borked. But the just these bottom two though are probably pretty accurate with Amir Drasil still being pretty young. You know, like right now Amir Drasil average pulls or total amounts of pulls for the average person who has cleared the whole raid is 791. Or no, I guess that's not technically what that is. What it is the average of every boss added up. The average pulls of every boss added up. So it's not necessarily guilds have done everything. It would also be the average. You'd be doing the average of how many people have killed Fyrak against the average of people who've maybe only killed Laredar too, But, same shit, I guess. Because the other tiers are doing the same thing. Aberrus. So Aberrus, that's kind of interesting. That like Aberrus had this like stigma of being a super easy raid, and then Vault was harder, but then Aberrus just took longer, right?
Yeah. Again, I think that it's probably the case that
I think it's a race world first diff.
And I think it's a case of like if you were doing Vault of the Incarnates in the first month, you were like substantially under 420 eye level, right? Even if you were on week 4, you were substantially under eye level. Whereas if you were doing Aberrus, you were pretty close to full build on the 4th week, even if you didn't do any splits or anything like that. Like you were close. Obviously, you didn't have everything you wanted, but you were close at that point. So I think that is why Aberrus, for like an average guild, ended up being fine on difficulty. Ended up still like, and also they just didn't need to nerf it as much as they nerfed.
It's probably
Skarn.
Like I bet Skarn has a huge amount to deal with that.
Yeah.
Plus, also, I mean, this is just really Aberrus is just a super weird raid where a lot of people base their difficulty of the raid off of the Raced World first. But Aberrus in particular had a bunch of bosses. Boss difficulty is not always the same. Like, there are bosses that you can kill in the Raced World first. This has been seen across end bosses for years, where we will kill a boss on 130 pulls, and then, like, the average pull for all of farm will be 130. Denathrius is kind of like that. Maybe a little bit higher. And then there are ones where we kill a boss in 300 pulls, then the average pull later on is like 200. It depends on how it's nerfed, depends on what the fight is actually hard for. Rashok is a big example of that. We pulled Rashok at the end of the night, super tired. We basically pulled what Echo did on Laredar this tier. We basically pulled an Echo Laredar on Rashok. Or I guess the best way to do it is saying Echo on Laredar this tier pulled what we did on Rashok last year by doing a full day of splits and being super tired and not going to bed and choosing to stay up to kill a boss, and that's why it took us 20 pulls to kill Rashok. But Echo did it, and they did it in like 7 pulls or something. What was the average Rashok kill?
It's gotta be around 100.
It's got to be around 100 probably, right? So like that's just a fight where like certain guilds are not going to wipe to that. It's probably maybe the best way to describe those fights is where to kill it, you need, it's like Massacre on Denathrius. You need like the worst couple people in your raid or the least consistent players to be very confident about living something, or else you're just not going to kill it because you have to do it so many times in the fight. Personal responsibility, maybe. Someone said check Discord, sent a new sheet. I'm not looking at my sub Discord. Oh, this one. Oh, we got, this is way too much, I think, for me. There's too many numbers. Yeah, I'm not looking at this ever. Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah, okay. So not too much to look at. It's just more that last expansion looks like took significantly longer. Like, so Blizzard has taken a step to make raids faster to complete, I think is something you could look at for sure. Like the hours spent raiding in Nathria on average is 90. In Sanctum, it's 77. In Sepulchre, it's 87. That includes a very long farm period with a bunch of nerfs, but like generally you're speaking whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
This tier,
I think Amir Drasil is going to bring this up as well relative to Vault and Aberrus once the later guilds reach these, like,
correct,
start actually finishing their prog.
Definitely true. Yeah, it'll go up. And then Aberrus, Vault, and all that. Although, wait, would Amir Drasil go up? I feel like it's weird. It depends on nerfs, right? Like,
yeah, but like I think the guilds that are doing it later are going to spend less time on Fire Act, but they're going to spend a lot more time on Smolder, on Naimu.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, Council than you guys did.
It would be interesting though. It would be interesting if the raid deemed easy from people who watched the Race to World first ended up being the raid that took the most time on average to complete over the course of the expansion. Amir Drasil probably passes it, but it's not going to be by much.
Yeah, and I think it does just go to show like one of the biggest factors for how much later people are going to have trouble with a raid is how much more power they can gain or how much more nerfs come in. And Aberrus, I think, was really distinctive in that you were full build on the second reset. Like, that was something that was true if you did splits, and you were full build on the third or fourth reset if you didn't. And, like, that means that you're fighting closer to the Race to World First version of the fights. Even if it's an easy Race to World First, if you have to do those fights, it's going to be really... it's going to age difficultly.
Difficultly.
That's a word. I'm coining that one.
So, just in general... what do you guys think about that for content cadence? Do you think them making the average time to progress these raids on Mythic down by, I don't know, looks like an average of at least 20% this expansion compared to Shadowlands? Do you think that's a good direction?
I think that the Amir Drasil formula is going to be the best of these. I think it's better than the Aberrus formula, and I think it's better than the Shadowlands formulas as well.
I think it probably depends on who you talk to. If you're someone who just fucking loves Mythic raiding and those hours you're spending are on good Mythic bosses, you're going to like that. And if you're like furthest end of the spectrum, like JB, and you just want to go in the raid, get your loot, and get out, and the longer it takes for you to get like Mythic versions of trinkets you really want on the second to last boss and last boss, like you're just gonna feel bad.
I think that's very fair. I think that there's a very good chance that me and JB will prefer the exact opposite raids from each other pretty much every time. Yeah.
Also something that's kind of interesting, not super important to what we're talking about, but I think we have probably had our last expansion with 4 raids. Hasn't happened in 2 expansions. Last expansion, I truly believe that there, like you guys said, like probably would have been 4 if like wasn't long ass weird COVID expansion. But like BFA was 4, these have been 3, and now we're in like the World Soul saga, right? 18-month expansions. Like ain't no way you're getting 4. You're probably just gonna get 3 for the rest of time. So 4 raid expansions are probably over.
Yeah, which I don't have a problem with 3 raid expansions. I have a problem with 3 raid 2-year expansions. So
yep, me
3
too.
raid 18-month expansions, that works fine for me. That's not a...
Yep.
That's the same rate, right?
Hard agree, yeah. Same rate of raids within a 2-year cycle. It's just broken up into,
Yeah, 100%.
All right, cool. Dorky, any thoughts?
He left, man. He left to go kill Firac. He left like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, what the fuck? I guess I couldn't even tell. I could also see him just fucking lurking, just not saying
That's
shit.
true.